Welcome to What is CI/CD. After watching this video, you'll be able to explain what continuous integration and continuous delivery are, describe the key differences between continuous integration and continuous delivery, and explain the main benefits of CI/CD. It's important to understand the difference between continuous integration and continuous delivery because a lot of times people say CI/CD like it's one process, but it's not. It's two separate and distinct processes that happen right after each other. Continuous integration is continuously integrating your code back into the main or master or trunk branch, so it shouldn't diverge too far before you merge changes back into the main branch to make sure that it works. You are continuously integrating your code with the main code base. Whereas continuous delivery is then taking that integrated code and deploying it somewhere. You may deploy it every time you integrate it, or you may not deploy it every time you integrate it. You may have continuous integration on one loop testing branches and pull requests, and then when you finally merge to main, you kick off the continuous delivery part. To define continuous integration, we say that CI is an automation process that allows you to integrate your work into your repository. You can also work as a team for the development of your application, and you can easily identify bugs and errors in your application very quickly. Your team can work in small chunks in different areas of your application and then easily and regularly merge the code into the main branch. Continuous delivery is the next phase after continuous integration. It prepares the code for the release of your application and automates the process that's required to deploy and build your application. Continuous integration and continuous delivery are broken into several distinct phases. Continuous integration consists of the plan, code, build, and test phases. This is where developers plan and then code the solution and then build it and test it in several repeating cycles until it's complete. And then the solution is ready to be delivered. While continuous delivery is made up of release, deploy, and operate phases, where the solution is released and the binaries are deployed into a given environment in repeating cycles, and the solution is then in live operation from that point on. It's important to differentiate them as we discuss CI/CD because they are two very distinct processes that cover very different phases. There is also a third concept called continuous deployment, which should maybe be called continuous release or something to make it less confusing because of the existing CI/CD terminology. The difference is subtle, and so when someone says continuous delivery, you usually know what they mean. But when someone says continuous deployment, you have to ask them, do you really mean deploying to production? Because that's what most people think of when you use the term continuous deployment. To avoid confusion, remember that continuous delivery is when you deploy it somewhere, like a development server, a staging server, a test server, or a pre-production server. Whereas continuous deployment is reserved for when you actually continuously push to production. So you'll hear these two terms, continuous delivery and continuous deployment, and it's important to understand that they don't mean the same thing. Continuous delivery is delivering it somewhere other than production, and continuous deployment is delivering it to production. It's also important to understand where CI/CD sits in terms of the DevOps pipeline. The DevOps pipeline consists of plan, develop, build, test, and deploy phases. And so when we talk about CI/CD, we're in the build and test phases of the DevOps pipeline. There are several key benefits to CI/CD. The first benefit is that you'll get faster reaction times to code changes. You're no longer waiting to see the effects of a change. It automatically gets built and tested and deployed. You'll also get the benefit of reduced code integration risk. The more often you integrate, the less time there is for change. So integrating more often means less risk of something breaking. Another benefit is that you get higher code quality with CI/CD because things are constantly being reviewed and constantly being tested, and every pull request is an opportunity for a code review. You also know the code and version control works. It's a common practice to ensure that the code in the main or master branch is always deployable. And lastly, CI/CD takes less deployment time because everything is already tested and deployments are automated, so they happen faster with greater repeatability. In this video, you learn that CI/CD is not one process. It's two separate and distinct processes that happen sequentially. Continuous integration is an automation process that allows developers to continuously integrate their code back into the main or master branch. Continuous delivery is the next phase after CI that takes integrated code and deploys it somewhere like a staging, testing, or pre-production server. Continuous deployment is delivering the code to production. CI consists of the plan, code, build, and test phases. CD consists of the release, deploy, and operate phases. CI/CD sits in the build and test phases of the DevOps pipeline, and there are several benefits to CI/CD.